Hi there, this is Dr. Kimberly Olson, welcoming you back to Relationship Rescue. This is Relationship Rescue Part 2. For those of you coming back that have worked so very hard, we're going to get on with it in just a moment. For those of you who accidentally touched upon this, not knowing this was Part 2, let me encourage you, if you're serious about relationship change, to go back to Part 1 and join us on this journey. Okay, so let's get started. So for those of you that did your worksheets, pull out your worksheets, please. Okay. Let me make this bigger. Sorry about that. Okay, what you're going to do is go to your worksheet, the template worksheet that you did for last week. Okay, and you're going to put each of your responses, the numbers are listed. So for example, here, let me see if I can make it bigger. Oops, wrong way. Okay, so for the demographics category, items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20, and 28 are going to go under that category. And we'll look at the relationship chart in just a minute. Mother or female authority figure, these items, your responses are going to go under that category. So for example, 10, 11, 13, 14, 18, and 19, 29 through 33, and 38 for women, 29 and 33 through 38 for men. So you get the point. Let me go ahead and show you. I'll stop sharing this one and bring up the other. What this is going to look like. Okay, so in your chart, you were working on your template, of course. These items come from the worksheets that we were doing, okay? So again, you're going to use the key and put the items under the given category. So for example, we're on templates, you're gonna look at demographics, female authority figure or mom, male authority figure or dad, peers or siblings, and culture, okay? So what kind of things might you end up jotting down here? Well, again, they're directly from your responses to the first worksheet. So in this person's case, they were raised from 0 to 12 in Bayfield, Maine. They engaged in safe, independent play when they were growing up. They were blessed to live in a good neighborhood. Walter, Nevada, 12 plus. Middle class, parents 50 years of age, and they're the oldest child. And we talked about where that's relevant and where we're going to be really using that in the very near future. But the female authority figure, Ma, anger, this person's mother yelled, cried compulsively over 8, became very demeaning, and it was very important for her to win in arguments. When she was sad, she would overeat, cry, isolate. When she was joyful, she would be the neighborhood mom, creative, in recovery, and funny. Her work experience was that she was fired a lot, okay, and was competitive. So dad's loyalty was loyal to her even when she was wrong, and appearances were super important. And again, these responses come directly from the worksheet. Now, if again, you've logged onto here and you're going, what are you talking about, Olson? Go back to Relationship Rescue Part 1. I have the questionnaire posted on there for you to print out. Male authority figure in this person's case, in anger, he was a peacekeeper with mom, even at the expense of children. When he was sad, he isolated and worked more. When he was happy, you knew dad was happy because he was a listener. He liked to go outdoors and got along with everyone. And worked dedicated. Loved but unclear about respect of spouse. Okay, so I'm not really sure if in this case, well, this person was sort of subservient to their spouse, that they really loved them, and failure to protect the children. All right, peers. Brother in this person's case was a talented athlete, likable, popular, and the extended family preferred him, or at least that was this person's perception. Poor academics, told my secrets, unsupportive, victim posturing. Friends, this person is very exclusive. They usually have one person that's a best friend. They felt some betrayal with friends, but mostly positive and supportive. Now, what about culture? The culture this person was raised in was Baptist. God was to be feared. Ethnicity, Caucasian, French, and American, middle class. Expectations this person felt growing up was to get married and have children. Racism, told that it was bad, but there was really no recognition of white privilege. So again, based on this person's age, white privilege really wasn't a concept then. So it isn't that the folks were necessarily bigoted, but just unaware. And these other areas, romance and children, are blank for your template. We're going to talk about that more in patterns. So we're going to be moving on to the patterns worksheet, which you're going to complete very much like you did the template worksheet. So it's going to be asking you questions like, to the best of your recollection, this is item 1. Let me make it bigger again. Describe your friendships in elementary school. Did you have many friends or just a few? Were they long-term or short-term? Now, if you don't remember that well, that's okay. You skip an item and move on. But most of us can remember our childhood friendships, okay? And so did you have one best friend that you hung out with? Were you in a military family? And so you had friends, but it didn't last very long. Just describe those friendships. Positive experiences with friends, negative experiences with friends, and then we're going to go to teachers. And we move on to middle school or junior high, high school, and we're going to start going into romance. So your boyfriend or girlfriend, how old were you? Okay. How was conflict handled in that relationship? And then your second romantic relationship, how long did it last? How are conflicts handled in this relationship? Okay, and so on. And this is your current status for the majority of your adult life. What city and state have you resided in? Okay, so again, you might be asking yourself, Olson, what are we doing with these things? Well, here's where it's going to go next week, okay? The information that you get from completing your patterns worksheet is going to go right into your relational chart, okay? And the beauty of this is that by next week, you're going to start seeing the real purpose of this and why it's so powerful, okay? Human beings do not evolve in a vacuum, okay? A little bit like we talked about last week about the fact that we have a template, okay? And that thing, that relationship that's templated in childhood gets reenacted over and over and over again, because that's what we were taught normal is, okay? And sometimes you don't even see it. So for example, let's say you had an alcoholic father who turned to alcohol whenever he was stressed or anxious or whatever. And maybe you don't do that, but you turn to food. The commonality between those two things is that you're both turning to substances for comfort and reassurance. So this following week is going to be pretty profound to you. I know that in working on the template, a lot of people have stuff that's stirred up. And like I shared with you last week, if that's the case, please do not hesitate to reach out for help, okay? Sometimes when we look at things from our history, it stirs all our stuff. Let's just be candid. But there's a purpose and a function for what I'm doing. Okay, it's not to be sadistic or to make anybody cry or to do psychoanalytic work with you or anything like that. I promise you, there's a payoff in your work and your willingness to endure the pain. Well, I shared with you guys last week that all of this is going to end up going. I'm hoping you're using a poster board. See if you can see it. Okay. Because by the time you're done with this, okay, there's quite a lot of information you're going to be putting on there. So you can see the categories on here. Okay. And something pretty profound is going to be done with that. So hang in there. Do your patterns worksheets. I will make sure they're attached to the video. And we will meet again. Thanks. Again, if you need anything, don't hesitate to email. If you want a copy of the actual worksheets, that's fine. Otherwise, I'm going to do a cut and paste like I did last time onto the actual comment section. So thank you. Bye-bye.